Hello and welcome to Spectrum News. I am Rachel David White, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu celebrates Supreme Court verdict on 2023 presidential elections. Senate begins screening of ICPC chair nominee Aliyu. China to provide $2 million humanitarian aid to Gaza. We'll bring you details of the stories and many more in a moment. First, in the news this afternoon is Nigeria's leader, President Bola Tinubu, who has welcomed the verdict and Justice John Okoro-led panel of the Supreme Court on the presidential election petitions filed by the candidates of the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party, challenging the ruling of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Tinubu, in an interview with newsmen, said the court has done justice to all issues put up for consideration in the petitions on the merit of the law without fear or favor. The president noted that with the profound judgment of today, the electoral jurisprudence and constitutional democracy have further consolidated and embedded more in the nation's national identity. He added that the victory has further energized and strengthened his commitment to continue to serve all Nigerians of all political persuasions, tribes and faiths without fear, with honor and total respect for the diverse opinions and uniting values of Nigerians. In a related development, the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barrow Jibrin, has held the Supreme Court judgment which affirmed the victory of President Bola Tinubu in February 25th presidential election. The Supreme Court today dismissed appeals by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and that of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, challenging Tinubu's election victory. Barrow, in a statement in Abuja by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ismail Modashi, described the judgment as victory for democracy. He urged the appellants to join hands with Tinubu to address the challenging economy and challenges facing the country. Barrow further urged them to accept the ruling of the apex court in good faith. Barrow commended the justices for upholding the verdict of the electorate who voted for Tinubu during the presidential election. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has expressed disappointment with the judgment of the Supreme Court, which threw out its petition against the declaration of President Bola Tinubu as the winner of the disputed February 25, 2023 presidential election. The party said it was upheld by the judgment of the court in their petition, which it filed alongside the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, against the declaration of the All Progressives Congress APC and Bola Ahmed Tinubu as winners of the polls, as declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). National Publicity Secretary of the party, Debo Ologunagwa, said these in a statement today in Abuja. Away from that, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has said the country's $3 trillion infrastructure investment and deficit can be better funded by local stakeholders rather than foreign borrowings. Shettima said these at the opening ceremony of the third West Africa Capital Market Conference with the theme Infrastructural Deficit and Sustainable Financing in an integrated West African capital market held in Lagos. The Vice President, who was represented by the Special Advisor to the President on Economic Affairs, Dr. Tope Fasua, said infrastructural deficit in the West African sub-region means that the capital market have to improve its operations. He advised stakeholders to encourage young West Africans to see the value in the capital market through the creation of apps, use of blockchain technology for transparency purposes, and more. And to the red chambers now, where the Senate has confirmed Musa Aliyu as the substantive chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC). The confirmation followed a screening exercise today at a plenary. The screening started around 11:50 a.m. after the leader, Bamidele Opeyemi, raised a point order to suspend relevant Senate rules to allow strangers into the chamber. Aliyu, a lawyer and Attorney General of Jigawa State, was screened at the Committee of a Whole chaired by the Deputy President Jibrin Barau. Recall that President Bola Tinubu had written to the Senate on Wednesday seeking confirmation of Aliyu as chairman of the agency. Meanwhile, the Senate has said that President Tinubu will present the 2024 budget to the National Assembly in the next 2 weeks. The President will also submit the supplementary budget for 2023 to the National Assembly for consideration. The Chairman Senate Committee on Appropriation, Solomon Adeola, who made the statement known during the inaugural meeting of the committee, stated that the National Assembly would ensure that the 2024 budget is passed before December 31st, 2024. Adeola, however, promised that irrespective of the lateness in the submission of the 2024 budget, the Senate would do a thorough job. And now to the Green Chambers, where the House of Representatives has rejected a motion that sought to compel the federal government to make the 2023 and 2024 secondary school examination free for all Nigerians. The motion, moved by Anamero Dekari, called on the federal government to make WAEC, NECO and JAMB free for its candidate this session, but the lawmakers kicked against it. In the motion, Dekari through the removal of petroleum subsidy and should help families that are struggling. Following a long debate, Awaji Abante moved a motion for the House to step it down, and it was adopted unanimously. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has vowed to probe oil firms operating in the country on allegation of failure to remit a total of $8.251 billion as stipulated in the 2022 Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NATI) report. The resolution was passed following the adoption of the motion co-sponsored by Ikenga Ogochinyere and Al-Hassan Doguwa, the lawmakers representing Idato Federal Constituency and Doguwa and Tudunwada Federal Constituency of Imo and Kano State. Late in the debate, Ogochinyere, who called for the House's intervention, observed that Section 4 subs unremitted revenues to the Federation amount to $3.041 billion, indicating a 13% increase from the total of $20.430 billion realized in 2020. Back here, the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Omoina, yesterday recommended a more robust, collaborative and mutual beneficial relationship between the Petrochemical and Fertilizer Limited, SPFL, and the host community on the SPFL Gas and Petrochemical Free Zone project in Eastern Obolo. Governor Eno met the recommendation when he played host to delegations from the company led by its Chief Operating Officer, Mohit Bharat, and the Eastern Obolo community led by the Chairman, Oil and Gas Committee, Professor Gamaliel Henry, at Government House, Uyo, the governor on whose instance the meeting was held to get briefing on the company's operation in the state so far and the community relations issues, posited that there was need for optimum commitment and involvement of government to moderate the company-community relationship to ensure balance between investors' comfort and survival chances of the host communities. To this end, the governor directed that the secretary to the state government constitute a tripartite committee involving the state government, SPFL, and its Nobolo community, also recommending that the commissioner of police be included in the committee so as to be acquainted with the fundamentals of the issues and be part of the solutions. Reaffirming his commitment to the governor of the state, Government House correspondent Jen Owa reports that the governor-in-law said he was willing to go the extra mile to ensure amicable resolutions in the investor community conflict interest of all, stressing that the state needs the investment as much as it needs guarantee the survival of all Akwaban people in this Nobolo. And now to Africa, where the United States and Saudi Arabia have said that they will resume talks in Jeddah, achieving a ceasefire in Sudan. Reports say representatives of Sudan's army and paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF) have arrived in the Saudi port city for the talks. Recall that previous peace talks in Jeddah city collapsed in June after numerous ceasefire violations. And still in Africa, Zimbabwe's main opposition leader, Nelson Chamisa, says the party will not participate in what he described as criminal by-elections to fill 15 seats for members who were controversially recalled from Parliament. Reports say by-elections have been scheduled for December 9th after the parliamentary speaker declared the seat vacant following a declaration by the interim Secretary General of the Citizens Coalition for Change (CCC) party, Sangezo Shabangu, that the members of parliament were no longer members. Mr. Chamisa dismissed a recalling of the lawmakers, saying his party will not waste time participating in the unconstitutional by-elections. On a foreign scene, China is set to provide approximately $2.05 million in humanitarian aid to Gaza Strip. Well, according to a statement from the China International Development Cooperation Agency, CIDCA, the country's foreign aid and development organization, the aid will be comprised of food, medicines, and other emergency humanitarian aid supplies. It added that the aid is an addition to the $1 million aid China has previously provided. And still on a foreign scene, a British model and TikToker, Maldo Adams, has been jailed for nearly 7 years in Peru after he was caught trying to smuggle cocaine out of the country. According to a report, Adams was intercepted at the George Chavez International Airport on 30th September with 2.9 kg, 6.4 lb of cocaine hidden in his suitcase. The 25-year-old was sentenced to 6 years and 8 months in a Peruvian prison. According to a court statement, the drugs were destined for the United Kingdom. Authorities found the drugs sealed into the backs of his suitcase during a search. The Superior Court of Justice of Palau said in a statement which was released last week. He was sentenced after admitting the drug smuggling charge, the court said, and was also fined. And still to come in the news, Newcastle midfielder Sandro Tonali banned 10 months for betting. Just stay with us. Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. Over now to our business news. On our business news, the government has reaffirmed its commitment to scaling up the rating of Nigerian ports globally. The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adeboye Gaoye, told us that these in Apapa, Lagos during the commissioning event of the mission to Sapphire Center. He explained that the reconstruction of the facility would scale up Nigeria's rating in the global maritime community. The former Osun State Governor added that improving Nigeria's trade balance is crucial to strengthening the value of Naira. And still in business, the African Petroleum Producers Organization (APPO) has kicked against a push for a speedy implementation of energy transition in Nigeria and other countries in Africa. APPO, an intergovernmental oil and gas organization with 18 member countries, said Africa was the biggest victim of a speedy energy transition being spearheaded by the developed nations of the world. Secretary General APPO Omar Farouk disclosed this at the third biennial international conference on hydrocarbon science and technology organized by Petroleum Training Institute, which was concluded in Abuja. He said Africa was being coerced to stop the exploration of fossils, but pointed out that Nigeria and other nations on the continent owe their people a duty to utilize the abundant oil and gas resources in their various domains for the development of their economies. And Health Minister of Health and Social Welfare Ali Pate has debunked the misconceptions about the HPV vaccine, stressing that those refusing vaccination are making great mistakes. Pate made this known in Abuja after a visit to the Kujingoro Primary Health Care Center in a company. Reports say HPV is the most common contact. Still in health, the Director General of the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, Dr. Gambo Aliyu, has urged Nigerians to demand HIV testing, prevention, treatment, and care services to achieve adequate coverage and to meet the United Nations target of ending AIDS by 2030. Aliyu said these at a two-day workshop held for social media influencers, bloggers, and journalists in Abuja. He also said, though HIV does not have a cure, it no longer cures and can be managed successfully. The NACA DG noted that the agency has succeeded in reducing HIV from the disease that kills to the disease that no longer kills. To sport now, where Newcastle's embattled midfielder Sandro Tonali has been banned from football for 10 months and will undergo a rehabilitation process for 8 months afterwards. Recall that the midfielder was alleged to have taken part in a betting scandal as opposed to the rules of the club and game. In response to the allegation, Tonali has confirmed the deposition, as it was more proven that the former Milan man did not only bet but also placed the bet on his then team AC Milan. FIGC, the Italian Football Federation President Gabriele Gravini, has thus confirmed Sandro Tonali will be banned for 10 months and will have to follow a rehab program for 8 months after that. Recall that Juventus midfielder Niccolò Fagioli was also involved in the same scandal and initially faced a 12-month suspension, but was reduced to 7 months. This reduction came about by Fagioli seeking help for his gambling addiction, committing to treatment and making at least 10 public appearances to discourage others from going down a similar path. Still in sports, Swedes prosecutors announced today they have dropped their 3-year criminal proceedings against FIFA President Gianni Infantino over suspected collusion with officials concerning the corruption scandal that engulfed world football's governing body. Infantino declared a full and clear victory in a case and demanded an apology from what he called the envious and corrupt people out to tarnish his reputation. A probe was opened in July 2020 to investigate suspicions of collusion between Infantino and Switzerland's then Attorney General Michael Lebas, their country's top prosecutor. Lebas was in charge of Switzerland's probe into the towering corruption scandal that exploded at the heart of Zurich-based FIFA in 2015, but he was forced to recuse himself from the investigation in June 2019 following media revelations that he had held several undeclared meetings with Infantino during the probe. On our entertainment news, Grammy-winning singer Temi Ladeopani, popularly known as Tems, has identified her compatriot Ashake and buzzing South African singer Tyler as her favorite African artist at the moment. The Oscar-nominated diva spoke on the red carpet of the Time 100 Next Gala in New York recently. She was one of the honorees at the 2023 Time 100 Next event. She was named as a next-gen voice. And while the Essence crooner was not the only Nigerian who met the 2023 Time 100 Next list, the CEO of health startup CT Blog Health, Dr. Toyin Ajayi, and tech founder Wemimo Abe met the list alongside co-founder Samir Goel for the startup Esusu. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTVLive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News 4. I am Rachel David White. Enjoy the rest of your day.